NCCI's first vice president between 2020 and 2025. Very good morning to you, Mr. Martin, and thank you so much for making time out to be with us.
Thank you so much for having me here, and very good afternoon.
Well, many have been saying that a baobab tree has fallen, that impact that all of us had felt when that news was announced. Where were you, and how did you receive the news of his passing?
Oh yes, it was all, I'm sure, for the whole nation and as well for myself. It was very hard. I was on the farm on that Sunday morning when I opened my phone and I got this bad news. I immediately started to cry. So it was just a natural feeling and a natural reaction. So I cried and I called my husband and I shared the news with him. So yes, it was definitely devastating to hear the news. We expect him to live forever.
Forever, yeah. And it's one of the things also that especially the small kids keep saying, and they said, oh, but can he die though? It's one of those things that you never really think about, even though we've known that he was, of course, in a critical condition. Yes. But let's go back a little bit to the first times that you've heard of this figure, this larger-than-life figure, this Nujoma person.
Yes, thank you. I was fortunate enough to, I was listening to last night's session of where we were having his memorial and where his journey started on him leaving for exile, where he had to collect the money. And the second journey of it is he is from Windhoek to Gobabis, and that journey was done by my father, Johannes Paulus Karuaihe. So that's why I heard the first time how my father was involved in assisting the president. By that time, Tatekulu, as we affectionately refer to him, he was most wanted man in Namibia, so he was not able to move freely. So when I heard that, so the moment the founding father returned to Namibia, he called upon my mother to visit him. I was obviously very young, but we could listen to the stories. And the moment I entered business, I was fortunate enough to sit around the table with him where he was sharing his ideas, how we must take Namibia further. I was also involved where he's the patron of the JP Karuaihe Trust Fund. So I got very much involved in dealing with him. So it was an absolute honor. And we were also fortunate to visit him on the farm as a family. So we were fortunate to have these interactions with him.
Talking about that relationship, I think that's very interesting for me. Just coming into your foray into business, we know that he was quite keen on empowering young people and of course also empowering women as well. Yes. Particularly looking at the kind of history that we are coming from, where women did not really enjoy the same level of. I mean, only in 2006 we had the new Marriage Equality Act, for example, that came into play. Just talk to me about your experience with him on women empowerment and putting that trust in young people as well to be able to handle big responsibilities.
Yeah. No, I think I was fortunate enough to experience that myself as well. When I, in 1992, joined the business fraternity, it was a profession that was only for the previously advantaged. I was one of the first few black women to join that profession, which is the accounting profession. And when we joined the profession, we were still treated very differently. The same person with the same qualification like myself, where we're doing articles. And in 10 years' time from there, I could say I became a partner in one of the big 4 firms. And that was because of what the founding father, the policies and the procedures that he put in place for us to do business in an independent Namibia. So I always say that him, our founding father, together with many others, they made sure that we get our freedom. And now it's for us as a young generation, although I'm not so young anymore, to take this country and make sure that we have economic emancipation and making sure that we as the youth and the elderly youth, as Dr. Korare was referring to us, that we take Namibia and unite for a common purpose and make sure that we take Namibia to the next level where everyone gets empowered and we make sure that we celebrate his legacy going forward.
But of course, we know that it's also been very strong in terms of black economic empowerment, bringing in things like affirmative action and so forth. And what can you tell us about, that need for him and that drive to make sure that there was social justice and equity within the Namibian economy?
I think I can testify to that myself, being in the system, we were able to participate in the economy in terms of the fishing. More Namibians could participate in getting fishing quotas. On the agricultural sector, he made available equipment for the ones who needed it, and there was also quite a lot of policy changes that happened so that people could do business in the agricultural sector together. The same happened in the mining sector as well, so we can go on and on in all the different sectors. In our accounting sector, I can say we also saw the transition where we could say 20 years later, after independence, we could see the first black partners in the big four firms. And that is absolutely a transition, and it's showing that it was happening. And we could, together with the previously advantaged, we could take many more accountants to qualify as chartered accountants. We were putting in initiatives that we knew that because of the policies and frameworks that was put there by our government, we were able, as private sector and as public sector, be able to do business. So the environment was created for us. So from an empowerment position, I personally can refer to where we were able to participate in empowerment deals, and if you it was available there for all of us, and some of us have taken up those opportunities, and today we are reaping the fruits of those business deals that we have gone on.
Yeah. Yes. One of the things, of course, that he was also quite adamant about was the labor force of the country, and having a labor force that's not discriminated against, coming from the past that we came from, low wages, etc., etc. And in 1992, we see them bringing in this Labor Act that, defines overtime, leave, etc., etc. As a business person, talk to us a little bit around his legacy in terms of, particularly also coming from this contract labor system, ensuring that there is an equitable and just, employment and proper employment conditions for workers in Namibia.
Yes, and once again there I can also refer to my own personal experience. I was fortunate enough to start at a very young age doing business in Namibia from the age of 12, meaning it's in the previously, before independence, and that business was very difficult to do business. And after that, it has become much more easier, and like you say, the conditions was more feasible and more for the employees. It was catering for the employees in terms of working hours, in terms of, like you've referred to, the contract system. All those were repealed, and it was adjusted so that there are more conducive working environment for the workers of today. So we can definitely refer to his legacy, that he has made it possible for us.
And I think finally, one of the things I really wanted to touch on, and I know you've had some personal experiences with him as well. Can you share maybe perhaps with us one or two of your fondest memories with him?
Yes, I think what I enjoyed most of the times that we were able to share with him is when he was relating to the historic history of like when he was sharing moments with people, like he was sharing with us moments with Robert Mugabe and many other African leaders, and how he perceived them. It's absolutely also changed my way of seeing the world out there. So I was fortunate enough to be able to listen to these stories, and I was always, wow, can I hear more? Can I hear more? So it was some of those moments. And I think we were also fortunate to, when we were doing dinner with him, then he will make sure that everyone is served. And I think that one of the most important takeaways from him is that he was very much about education. When my family visited him, we were many. I think we took all the grandchildren and everyone, and we had to stand in a queue and explain what is everyone doing with themselves. And each one could say, I'm studying this and I'm studying this. So he was very passionate about us taking our education further. And I think that's something that we can take forward with ourselves.
Well, going forward, I think in conclusion from your side, what is and I think you might have mentioned one or two there as well, but the one important lesson that you think Namibians should carry on going forward in ensuring his legacy still stays alive?
Yeah, I think in memory of our late Dr. Sam Shafishuna Nujoma, our founding president, I would like to say, as Namibians, let's unite, let's focus for a common purpose, which we all know what it is. It's to make Namibia a better place. Let's take hands and make Namibia what we want it to be, the Africa that everyone wants.
So, the Africa that everybody wants to come to.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Martin, for making time out to be with me this morning.
Thank you so much.
There we have it. Of course, we're continuing to celebrate the life and times of Dr. Sam Shafishuna Nujoma, Karuaihe-Martin, Managing Director at NamibRe, and NCCI's first Vice President between 2020 and 2025, of course, chatting with us this morning and reflecting a lot more also on some of the opportunities that were provided for black business immediately after independence. When we come back,